The day is January 22nd, 2012. The second-seeded Baltimore Ravens have traveled up to Foxborough to take on the top-seeded New England Patriots. Going into the game, the Ravens had defeated the Texans in the divisional round 20-13 with 4 interceptions by the Ravens defense. However, this week is a much tougher task going against the GOAT Tom Brady. The Patriots entered this game 13-3, only losing one game at home all year, and favored to win this game. However, the Ravens forced 2 interceptions off Tom Brady, containing the Patriots' offense at 300 yards. With a chance to win the game, quarterback out of Delaware, Joe Flacco, was tasked to lead the Ravens' offense 79 yards to win the game after a deadlock at 23-20. With the help of Anquan Boldin, Flacco led the Ravens' offense all the way down the field in a perfect 2-minute drill. With the ball on the 14-yard line, 2nd and 1, Flacco dropped back, threw it to Lee Evans, and okay, well, that's fine. Still another chance. Oh, okay. Now it's 4th down. Don't worry. This is a 32-yarder by Billy Cundiff, and no.
It's no good. It's no good.
Okay. That's not supposed to happen. And just like that, the Baltimore Ravens season has ended in a game they had in their hands. Much like Lee Evans, they let it fall right through their grasp. A lot of uncertainty occurred in Baltimore after the next few months. Both Ray Lewis and Ed Reed were nearing the end of their careers, while Joe Flacco was in the final year of his rookie contract. On top of that, they lost a key contributor and outside linebacker, Jarrett Johnson, who was awesome for years on the Ravens. However, the Ravens did sign little-known corner Corey Graham, who would turn into a solid player for the Ravens defense, as well as Ravens legend Jacoby Jones. Rest in peace. The Ravens also did not take a player in the first round, leaving some fans confused at the urgency inside the front office. However, the Ravens did end up with some key contributors like guard Kelechi Osemele and edge Courtney Upshaw. There was also an undrafted free agent kicker with the name Justin Tucker, but I don't think he'll end up doing much for the Ravens anyway, so. 2012 season with an absolute whooping of the Cincinnati Bengals, 44-13. The Ravens introduced a new no-huddle offense which completely ran the Bengals off the field. Ray Rice dominated with over 100 yards on the ground, while Flacco threw for over 300 with 2 touchdowns added. This type of offense hadn't been unlocked yet in Baltimore, as they have relied on the defense to help win in January. Throughout the next 5 weeks, the Ravens won 4 of their 5 games, with impressive offensive performances against both the Patriots, with Torrey Smith leading the way heroically after his passing of his brother, and against the Cowboys, where Jacoby Jones stole the show on special teams with a return touchdown. Just ignore the Kansas City win 9-6. This may have been the ugliest game ever played in the history of the NFL since like the 1950s. Absolute god awful football. Anyways, Week 7 was the game that would change the season forever for the Baltimore Ravens when they walked into Houston to play a fellow 5-1 team in the Houston Texans. This was a bloodbath immediately with the Texans taking control. Texans went up 29-3, and Flacco struggled throwing for 2 picks and less than 150 yards. The final score was 43-13 favoring the Texans. To this day, this is one of the most lopsided losses in Ravens history, following the absolute blowout in London against the Jaguars in 2017. After this game, it was reported that the Ravens locker room was going through a mutiny, questioning whether John Harbaugh's leadership was really right for this team.
Sizzle was like, you need to get back. He was like, everything out of order. He was like, soon as the general leaves, he was like, it's all messed up here, bro. He was like, man, I'm meeting today. I ain't never had a meeting like that in my life.
That goes back to the open mic. I mean, we probably got more accomplished in that half hour toward, becoming the champions that we were going to become than any half hour we'd done all year.
This was also the first game without superstar linebacker Ray Lewis commanding the middle. Lewis had torn his pec the week before against the Cowboys, which likely ends his season and possibly his career. While Lewis wasn't as good at this point in his career, his leadership and IQ was desperately missed by this defense. After the tough bye week, the Ravens won the following 4 games, improving their record to 9-2. In their 9th win of the year, they beat the San Diego Chargers in one of the most improbable ways possible. On 4th and 29, Joe Flacco dumped the ball down to Ray Rice instead of throwing deep for some reason, and Rice rumbled all the way for the first down. Shout out Anquan Boldin for the greatest block on Eric Weddle, by the way. In my opinion, this is one of the plays that truly shows how unlikely and incredible this season truly was. Without this win, the Ravens didn't even make the playoffs, so just to point out. Justin Tucker would end up winning the game in overtime off a 38-yard field goal with just 1 minute remaining in overtime. This run of luck in great form would soon end when the Ravens lost their next 3 games. This would cause the Ravens to fire offensive coordinator Cam Cameron, which came as a shocking surprise in the middle of the season. The worst of the losses came to Denver in Week 15, losing 34-17, in a game where the score was a lot closer than it actually was. Against the best team in the AFC, the Ravens were nowhere close. During this time, the Ravens began facing a ton of criticism in the media, and rightfully so. Many pundits asked how the Ravens even got the 9 wins and questioned their abilities in the playoffs. And while these questions wouldn't be answered in a 33-14 demolishing of the Giants at home to clinch the division, they would be answered in 2 weeks' time when the Indianapolis Colts came to town. Number 4-seeded Ravens were matched up with the 5th-seeded rookie Andrew Luck-led Colts. However, this was not the main storyline for the game. Before the game, Ray Lewis had announced that he was somehow back from a torn pec to play in the playoffs. He also announced his retirement from the NFL after this playoff run. While many Baltimore fans knew this was coming soon, it still felt like a shock to hear it come out of his mouth. This made M&T Bank Stadium electric for what was Lewis's last home game. With M&T Bank fired up, the defense answered in Lewis's final home game, shutting the Colts down to just 3 field goals. The offense behind Joe Flacco and Anquan Boldin started off slow, but found themselves up a score in the 4th with a chance to put it away. Flacco threw up one of his notorious moonballs that landed in the hands of Boldin for the score. Boldin, who was one of the most underrated parts of this team in this playoff run, had 145 yards in the score, absolutely dominating the Colts defense. The Ravens defense continued to shut down rookie Luck and walked out of M&T with the win. Time for the real test. The next week, in the divisional round, the Baltimore Ravens walked in a mile high. Just a month ago, the Broncos had dominated the Ravens at home. Nobody gave the Ravens any chance to win this game. In the opening minutes of the game, it already seemed like it wasn't going to go the Ravens' way when Trenton Holiday returned it 90 yards to the house. That being said, the Ravens had evolved to where they were just a month prior and responded with a Torrey Smith bomb, followed up by a Corey Graham pick 6. Suddenly, it was in the Ravens' control early. That being said, this game would present itself to be a lot more challenging than that for Baltimore. Peyton Manning and the Broncos scored the next 2 touchdowns, one to Brandon Stokely and the other to Noshawn Marino. Another Torrey Smith deep ball would tie this game up right before the half, proving that this game might go down to the wire. And it did. As soon as you could blink, Holiday had returned another one to the house. The Ravens special teams were getting killed all day by Holiday, putting them in a huge hole. While Rice was able to score a touchdown late in the 3rd, the Broncos responded with a Thomas touchdown midway through the 4th. No worries though, Joe Flacco is the Ravens driving down the field with an easy catch for Jacoby Jones, and he dropped it. Oh boy, just like last year. Well, I guess there's still one more, and it's incomplete. All right. While Ray Lewis and the defense stepped up and got the stop in a crucial situation, it still looked dire for Baltimore. On 2nd down, Flacco stepped up and rolled out for a 7-yard gain with the clock still running. At this point, it looked completely over for Baltimore, as everyone rushed back to the line, and Flacco aired one out deep, and
Caught into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacoby Jones. How does that happen in the Denver secondary?
holy shit. In one of the most unbelievable plays in NFL history, Jacoby Jones redeemed himself for a poor drop just a minute before with the play of the century, followed up with some great coverage here by Raheem Moore. I still have no understanding what he was doing. And for some reason, the Broncos will kneel this game out with Peyton Manning with a minute left and 3 timeouts to go to overtime, where neither offense had any life. In fact, it was the Ravens' defense and Corey Graham stepping up again with another pick to set up Tucker for a 47-yard field goal in double overtime.
And the thing that you realize is the days are long, but the years are short. And who would have thought after 365 long days, we'd be walking into that stadium in what seemed like one day later, just like that, to play that very same team with the very same stakes.
Somehow, a full year later, the Ravens found themselves in the same position. AFC Championship, Foxborough, Massachusetts versus the Patriots. This time, the Ravens came in with more experience. The year filled with adversity on whether they'd even make it to this point The miracles of Denver and Ray Lewis returning from injury, but still carrying the pain of 4 straight years of failure and disappointment. With a lot on their mind, they opened the game very, very slow. The Ravens didn't get on the board until the second quarter when Ray Rice stumbled his way into the end zone. That being said, the Ravens found themselves trailing at the half 13-7. Things needed to change quickly, or else the Ravens would find themselves going home in another crucial playoff loss.
But we all knew going into halftime that the fight style was going to have to change.
Hey guys, we got to get something going on offense. I mean, we can't play this kind of game. We got no chance to win this game. We got to start moving the ball. Maybe open it up on first down and just put in Joe's hands, you know?
I was definitely a little bit disappointed about how we played in the first half. I was getting ready to, say, come on, man, we got to get going here a little bit. But the good thing was that everybody came in the locker room with that same mindset. John, Jim, myself. I didn't have to say anything because it was said before I even got the chance to.
Luckily for Baltimore, playoff Flacco had officially arrived.
Ravens trying to take it in and take the lead. Flacco throws, got his man, Pitta for a touchdown. Throwing on first and goal. Up top, and Bolden has it. Touchdown, Baltimore.
Boy, this guy is something else.
Early in the fourth quarter, the Ravens needed another play to really pull away. Enter Bernard Pollard.
He's hit the head, he's laid out, the ball is out. He was robbed by Pollard. And is recovered by the Ravens.
In a hit that would probably serve 10 years of jail time in today's NFL, the Ravens found themselves with the ball and Joe Flacco dicing for another score. Suddenly, the Ravens were up 2 scores. The Ravens team of years past might have allowed the Patriots to come back in this game, but not this team. And they did it. 12 years of underperforming, poor offensive performances, and blown opportunities. They've done it. But there was still one more to go. And here it was, the Super Bowl versus our historic team, the 49ers. On paper, this matchup shouldn't even be close. The Niners had players like Colin Kaepernick, Frank Gore, Michael Crabtree, Vernon Davis, and Joe Staley leading the offense, while the defense had monsters like Justin Smith, Navarro Bowman, Aldon Smith, Dante Whitner, and of course, Patrick Willis. That being said, if the games were just played on paper, the Ravens would have been eliminated 3 weeks ago. And just like that, the Ravens had absolutely taken it to the Niners in the first half. 21-6. With Joe Flacco absolutely dealing. Ravens fans had claimed he'd been elite all this time, but it looked like they were right. But as we know, football is a game of 2 halves, and there's one more to go.
Raiders, Jim Harbaugh that is. And there's going to be a run back from 9 deep for Jacoby Jones. And look at him go. Jones is past the 50, and he is flying inside the 20, and a kickoff.
Jacoby motherfucking Jones. 108 yards. At this point, being up 28-6, it's looking like it's going to be 2000 all over again. I mean, how are the 49ers supposed to even come back at this point? And the power went out. This was a huge blow to the Ravens as it stopped all momentum they had built up for the past hour and a half on the field. But still, they're up about 3 scores, and there's no possible way they can blow this lead in just 25 minutes. Well, okay, no.
And Kaepernick again zips it in there. Crabtree still on his feet and in for the touchdown.
Now you look for the quarterback run.
It's Gore running right side, and Gore has the edge and the touchdown. As Kaepernick forced outside and taken off. Inside the 10, and Kaepernick's in for the touchdown. Wow, did he get there in a hurry?
Well, the Ravens need to score. With the defense exhausted and only up by 2, they need to put away this game. With the help of Joe Flacco, Anquan Bolden, Ray Rice, and Justin Tucker making the field goal, the objective was clear. No touchdown. But Frank Gore had other plans and almost ended the game on this long run all the way down the field. Okay, all right, cool. But here it was, the opportunity. 4 downs left. A team that's been led by their defense for years. The last time Ray Lewis and Ed Reed will ever put on a Ravens jersey. And they have 4 chances to win the Super Bowl. and stopped the 49ers from completing absolute history. 1st and goal.
This time the Ravens.
2nd and goal.
From the gun. Rolling out. Kaepernick looking, firing incomplete.
3rd and goal.
Under center. Kaepernick wins it. Caught. Smash.
This is it. One down to cement a legacy in Baltimore forever.
Kaepernick walks it in the air. No flag. Incomplete.
And they've done it. A team built upon its defense for years gets a stop when they needed it most in the biggest game of Ravens history. Just ignore that potential pass interference by Jimmy Smith. No need to look at that any further. While the Ravens made this game more interesting than they needed to, after safety, Sam Cook punts the ball to Ted Ginn, where he is swiftly taken down, and the Ravens were victorious. After years of getting bashed in the media and failing in the playoffs, Joe Flacco went and got his Super Bowl MVP with 287 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and most importantly, no interceptions. In the playoffs as a whole, he had 1,140 yards with 11 touchdowns and infamously no interceptions. After years upon years of questioning whether he was an elite quarterback, Joe Flacco entered the conversation with a huge bang, defeating Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady in the same playoff run. This earned himself a 6-year, $120 million contract extension with a $52 million guaranteed. Well, this contract ended up hindering the Ravens for years, but it's okay because Joe Flacco, elite, of course, it's fine, dude. In the coming months, this Ravens team ended up falling apart with guys like Lewis retiring and Reed being shipped off in a trade. Bolden, for some reason, was also traded to the 49ers. Absolutely no reason at all, and probably one of the dumbest trades in Ravens history, but I digress. The Ravens would end up struggling for 6 years to find any playoff success, missing it all except 1 year in 2014 when they lost the division to the Patriots. But for that 1 year in 2012, the team was able to defy all odds and probability stacked against them to deliver one of the greatest postseason runs we have ever witnessed. And with that message being said, it's not about being the best team, it's about being that team that gets hot at the right moment. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the like button, and comment what you want to see next. Until then, peace.